The internet can be quite a bad place because it's filled with lies. So many videos stating that this car right here costs rupees 11.49 lakhs. I know that's called clickbait, but this car right here, the top end variant of the Tata Sierra Turbo Petrol Automatic, actually costs rupees 25 lakhs on road Mumbai. That's more than double. Ambani is going to work right now. 2 minutes, can you shut the fan because I'm trying to speak here?
मैं आपको seriously लेता नहीं.
Anyways, now I've got the Tata Sierra back at home in my playground and it's time to give it my pros and cons test right away. Starting with the first con, it is undoubtedly the inconsistent quality. There are panel gaps both inside out and fit finish needs improvement. Just have a look how the glass has different cuts on either side. Paddle shifters have a mind of their own at times and don't work. This top end variant has 3 screens and a bugbearer for Indian car brands has been electronic issues. So less the tech, the better. But both Tata and Mahindra are offering more electronics in their cars, which is not such a good thing. Now here is an out of the blue problem. I'm trying to open the sunroof. It simply does not open. Yes, the car is on. The sunroof simply does not open at all. Maybe there's an issue with this switch. So I'm just going to do voice commands. Open sunroof.
Cancelled.
This lady is like cancelled, which means there's an issue with the sunroof. It just does not open. The blind is not opening. Nothing is reacting. What is happening? And I actually mount my camera here. So I'm not able to shoot my POVs right now. So I'm a bit stuck. But obviously someone who's paying rupees 25 lakhs will find it a bigger issue than just shooting videos, because a sunroof not working in a car which has barely done 300 kilometers. Not cool. A standard feature on all Tata cars is the left drift function. If you hold the steering dead straight, the car will start drifting to the left. Yeah, that's right. On a brand new car, such a thing is happening, which is obviously very surprising and shocking as well. That how is the alignment always off in all the Tata cars? You hit a few bumps and then it starts to drift left. Wow! The second con is the price. While the base variant is priced at rupees 13.65 lakhs on road Mumbai, the top end variant, which happens to be the diesel automatic, is priced at rupees 25.81 lakhs, making it the most expensive car in the segment. Mind you, the base variant has no screen. Yes, that's right. There is no infotainment screen in the smart variant, which in all honesty isn't such a smart move. When compared to the new Seltos, the Sierra is a lot more expensive, with the price difference between top variants being rupees 1.75 lakhs. Bizarre, because Indian car brands usually undercut their foreign rivals. The third con is the diesel engine. 118 PS and 260 Newton meters of torque or 280 Newton meters of torque in the automatic might not sound so bad on paper, but the Sierra is a heavy car and feels sluggish. In fact, it takes almost 13 odd seconds to go from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour, which is obviously slow. 0 to 100 15 seconds में कैसे पहुंच रही है भाई? The diesel engine also lacks refinement and has quite a lot of vibrations in spite of the fact that it's a 4-cylinder. I know that the Sierra's rivals offer similar output, but those are lighter cars. Tata Motors is charging quite a premium for the diesel over the petrol, which makes no sense, as the premium would have been justified if this car was powered by the 2-liter Fiat Source diesel engine, which obviously offers more power, more torque, and would have made the diesel absolutely the best in the segment, because this chassis is so damn good that a powerful diesel engine would be awesome. Also, the 1.5-liter NA petrol engine actually seems to be dull on paper with just 106 horsepower and 145 Newton meters of torque, but I reserve my judgment on that engine till I drive it. The fourth con are the ergonomics. My left knee touches the center console. My right knee touches the panel on the door, which has a touchpad that's poorly designed, resulting in me accidentally hitting it and closing the mirrors on the go. The touch buttons here aren't easy to use and physical buttons should have been offered. The piano black panel here and the steering wheel pad are a fingerprint magnet and are also prone to scratches. The ventilated seat button is out of sight, while the place here to keep a phone isn't wide enough. Then there is this panel on the rear windows which creates blind spots. Not an issue in top variants which have the blind view monitor, but in lower variants you will have to occasionally turn around like this to see if anyone is in your blind spot, but this panel will hinder visibility. Then there is the sunroof. It's massive for sure, but starts so far back that front seat passengers don't get the view of the sky, but third row passengers do, and this car doesn't even have a third row. And the spare wheel is placed under the car and not in the boot. Not easy to access. It's smaller size too and not an alloy. The power tailgate doesn't open immediately and there's a lag between command and execution. The beige seats get dirty very fast, and in under 300 kilometers, this is how the driver's seat looks now. Also, road and tire noise is a bit loud here. And the gear lever isn't very responsive. Takes some time to engage gear. And there's a bonus fifth con, which is the build quality. Yes, Tata cars are known for their build qualities, but not this one actually. The problem is there's inconsistency in the way they make their cars, and that's the reason this car's build quality doesn't feel as good. There are a lot of vibrations which you can feel through the suspension. Yes, there are rattles as well, and those rattles really put you off because this is a brand new car which has barely done 300 kilometers, yet it's rattling to glory. Here, have a listen. See the vibrations, the rattles. But there's a lot to like about the Tata Sierra, with the first pro being its design, which although is fantastic, this guy's giving me a thumbs up. It's the tallest and widest car in the segment, having the longest wheelbase and the biggest tires in the segment too, which at 19 inches on top variants are a tad too big. But I don't like the design of the alloy wheels. This panel here tries to replicate the design of the original Sierra and works to a certain extent too, and there are flush door handles too. While the rear design is the least impressive, the rear wiper being tucked beneath the rear spoiler is a neat touch. The Sierra has light bars at the front and rear, which have cool welcome and goodbye animations too. The Easter eggs both inside and out are really cool too. The second pro is the performance of the petrol engine. Because it produces 160 horsepower and 255 Newton meters of torque, power delivery is very linear here. Turbo lag is well contained, and the top end is a bit lacking because it's upshifting under 4000 RPM, which isn't that impressive. So performance is actually good enough. However, 0 to 100 kilometers per hour comes up in 9.7 seconds in some of the cars, but this car is taking 12 seconds to go from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour. I have tested this car again and again and again for the 0 to 100 kilometers per hour acceleration timing. It simply does not crack the sub 11 mark because there seems to be some inconsistency in terms of performance with various cars. So this one just doesn't feel sprightly enough. When I first drove this car in Mumbai around 3-4 days back, I was like, yeah, it doesn't feel that fast. Is it something with my mind because I was driving an electric G-Wagon recently? So probably I'm just got used to that electric rush and this car is not performing as well. However, after timing it, I'm quite surprised it's not as fast as what I experienced in Chandigarh a few weeks back.
Flashback.
The engine is really smooth. Look at the red line. It's upshifting at 4700 RPM. So under 5000 RPM is where it shifts, and 0 to 100 km per hour in 9.7 seconds.
End of flashback.
Probably Tata Motors actually tuned those cars differently. Did they have the Safari and Harrier petrol tune with 170 horsepower and 280 Newton meters of torque? I don't know. I can't really trust a brand which actually limits the fuel efficiency from dropping below 8 kilometers per liter, because that is obviously unethical. Just so that people think that the car is not bad in terms of fuel efficiency, they have limited it there, which is not such a good thing. But yeah, the performance isn't as great as I expect it to be. So the engine is sort of not market ready and definitely needs more testing before it goes on sale, obviously. Oh my god. Yeah, so in terms of the gearbox, it's actually quick with shifts, decently quick, yeah, because it's a torque converter unit at the end of the day. The shifts are seamless without a doubt, but they're not fast enough. They don't need to be. And paddle shifters, they're decent, not very responsive as such, but they get the job done. I'm going to stop here and I'm going to launch it again. Hopefully I'm going to crack that 0 to 100 km per hour timing which I did earlier, because I am in disbelief. How is this super petrol engine not giving me the super performance which I experienced earlier on? So it's time to go left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator, and off we go. Can you hear the vibrations? Now we've reached 0 to 100 km per hour in 11 seconds, a bit of a slope which obviously assisted the car, but I don't know why the performance is so inconsistent here, and it's upshifting like really low. It's upshifting around 3,500-4,000 RPM, Why? I mean, come on, it's a petrol engine, it's not a diesel engine. It should behave like a petrol engine, right? But no, it just does not, which is kind of surprising and shocking as well, that the performance is not consistent throughout all the cars, which is something Tata Motors really needs to work on, because you can't give different performance with the same specs for different cars, which just doesn't make sense here. Although you can hear the turbo whistle, which is quite satisfying. I love the way the NVH has been done on this car. So smooth, so refined. You can't hear a thing. That's the level of smoothness and refinement. And I'm going to try and test it again. Let's see if it's able to do it better now. Left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator. Come on. Legit upshifting at 3,500 RPM. 3,750 RPM. Yeah, we are kind of out of road because we came to a curve. But yeah, the performance isn't consistent here. A manual should have been offered with the turbo petrol engine, because come on, a manual is a manual. It would have been faster for sure. I don't know why they've restricted themselves to automatics and why they're promoting automatics so much. Anyways. I love the horn, the dual tone horn, fantastic. And the wipers, well, good amount of spray on offer here. There are two drive modes, there's City and Sport.
Sport drive mode activated.
I'm obviously doing the acceleration test in Sport drive mode. It simply isn't as fast as other Tata Sierras I had experienced a few weeks back. The third pro is the equipment on offer. It's the most feature-loaded car in the segment, with some standout features being memory driver seat, adjustable under-thigh support for the front seats, 12.3-inch passenger screen which can be connected to a gaming controller. It also comes with its own set of headphones, gaming and video apps, gesture-enabled electric tailgate, AR head-up display, extendable 8-way sun visors, express cooling.
Express cooling is on.
Boss mode, and a 12-speaker JBL sound system with Dolby Atmos that includes a soundbar on the dashboard and has 13 sound modes. The fourth pro is the ride and handling balance. It's simply fantastic, but that's something you expect from Tata Motors, because they managed to tune the chassis beautifully well. This car has frequency dependent dampers on the top variants, which obviously helps a lot, but these 19-inch wheels are not the best for low speed ride, because obviously it does crash into potholes at lower speeds. However, the good part is that the overall ride quality is fantastic. The faster you go, the better it is. It smoothens out beautifully well. And the suspension is on the stiffer side, and that's one of the major reasons why obviously the ride isn't the best at lower speeds. But overall, the ride and handling balance is fantastic. Body roll is very well contained somehow. However, I have to admit that the steering is not the best in terms of feel. Although it is light, weighs up at high speeds, it's quite predictable to drive. There's good amount of grip on offer as well. So yeah, the Sierra is a fun car to drive, especially with this turbo petrol automatic, which obviously has the grunt. The diesel doesn't have the grunt to really exploit the chassis' full potential. The petrol definitely has it. Feels phenomenal to drive because of the feel. You obviously see the complete bonnet while driving this car, and great commanding driving position in spite of the fact this is front wheel drive. In fact, they have debuted a new platform. I don't even know why they need a new platform, because all their platforms are fantastic in terms of ride and handling balance. Car feels so robust to drive. It's just so engaging and fun as well. Yes, a Tata car is always great in terms of ride quality, but also good in terms of handling characteristics. Oh, the wheel spin naturally there, because good amount of grunt from the turbo petrol engine. And the brakes, they are also quite strong here. Hazard lights on. Although the tires obviously screech under heavy braking, there's a lot of mass at play here. Fake sports car spotted. You also get terrain modes, which do help to a certain extent, but I'm a bit baffled with the fact that why can't we turn off traction control in Tata cars? That would have been so nice. Yeah, let me control if I want the ESP to intervene or not. The Creta allows you to do it, because of which you can wheel spin to glory like this. a bonus 5th Pro, which is the rear seat experience. Because there's good amount of space, I can obviously push this seat all the way ahead. There's really good amount of knee room, leg room and foot room as well. Under thigh support is decent and headroom is adequate enough for someone as tall as me in spite of the panoramic roof, which actually brings in a lot of airy feeling on the inside. I get a sun blind here and there's a phone holder along with 2 USB-C charging sockets, one of which actually happens to be a 65-watt fast charger. The seat back is scooped out, which means even if the seat is behind, I'm going to have good amount of knee room. You have a magazine holder here and inside you have actually got 2 pockets so you can store your phone there as well. In fact, I think I can store my phone here too. I'm not sure if that's going to vibrate. Obviously, it's going to vibrate. And the center passenger gets a head rest and the center armrest has twin cup holders as well. Meanwhile, this seat actually reclines slightly, which makes it even more comfortable. There's a light placement here. There's a nice damped handle. There's a hook as well. It's just such a fantastic place to be in. The only gripe I have is with this panel because it sort of creates a blind spot. I mean, I'm not driving the car from here, so obviously that blind spot doesn't really matter. It just makes you feel a bit claustrophobic on longer drives. But the space here is so fantastic that who needs a Safari or Harrier when the Sierra gives you this much and more? Phenomenal! Tata Motors has entered a supremely competitive segment with the Sierra, which stays true to Tata Motors' philosophy of offering more car per car. Yes, it's a bit on the expensive side, but it offers a lot to the buyer. In fact, this is the best Tata car ever. Sorry. The second best Tata car ever after the Safari Storm, obviously. Can the Sierra do all that? Obviously not. And I hope Tata Motors brings the all-wheel drive variant really soon. And I'm talking about all-wheel drive ICE, not all-wheel drive EV. Anyways, this car feels really premium. I just hope the service center is able to provide a premium experience to the customers. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. That's the like button. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Bye-bye.